No Man Has a Right to Own Mountains, Chapter 3. Wow, Grandad, this is getting better and better. Rosie was looking straight ahead and upwards. They'd left the reservoir behind and were climbing up a narrow defile, a steep-sided little valley cut by the fast-running stream rushing down slightly below the narrow footpath. This is William Clough, Rosie. You mean it was named after William Clough? Grandad chuckled. Well, it was certainly named after someone called William, but Clough weren't his name. If my memory serves me right, he were a blacksmith and cutler. A Clough's a mountain stream, although folk often use it to name a steep-sided valley like this. How do you know all this, Grandad? Well, I used to come up here most weekends and every single bank holiday. Your grandma were from Little Hayfield, and she were a real fount of knowledge. You must miss her, Grandad. Aye, I do, lass, but what, Grandad? Well, I've never told you this, but your grandma died same night you were born. So they says, lass, although I was broken-hearted at the time, at least I've got thee to comfort me. He speeded up, leaving Rosie in his wake, as if to prevent her responding, and then they were on a patch of almost level ground. He pointed upwards with his walking stick. There are about 8 men strung along the hillside there, Rosie, all of 'em armed with sticks like this'n. They were gamekeepers, sent by Duke of Devonshire himself to stop us getting up onto the Scout. What happened next, Grandad? Were you frightened? Nay, lass. Thing is, we hadn't taken trouble to come all the way from Manchester to be halted by a few trouble-making gamekeepers. Even if they were the serfs and lackeys of a nobleman, it would have been like going to Blackpool and not seeing th' ocean. Young Benny Rothman blew his whistle and off we set, determined to get on to the top and enjoy Gradley View. We had 'em outnumbered 50 to 1, but silly sods still tried to stop some of us, wielding their sticks like demons. There were a bit of a fight, although not many of us were involved, and only one keeper were hurt. Daft sod tripped up, sprained his ankle and knocked himself out. A lone rambler, who wasn't with us and had stuck to the public footpath, was arrested for it and found guilty, although he had nought to do with it. Most of the women and girls had stayed behind when they sought keepers, but your grandma decided to cleave to me. That's how she almost got her head broke and I got this here stick. It must have been awful, Grandad. It were unnecessary. They should never have tried to stop us. Unluckily for us, the police had more sense than keepers. What do you mean, Grandad? First thing first, young Rosie, I'll tell you in due course. Now, see that knobbly bit left up yonder? He pointed upwards with his stick once more. That's Ashurped. That's where we got up to, and that's where Benny Rothman made another speech congratulating us on our success. And then, after contemplating the view and hugging each other, and meeting some lads that had come over from Sheffield via Edale, and singing the Red Flag and the Communist International, we came back down, feeling as though we'd been on top of the world, and overjoyed it had all been so easy. I wish I'd been there. It sounds so exciting, Grandad. It were, lass, but it were more than that. Because of what happened after that, it changed the course of British history. And for once, it were changed for the better. And it was all down to a few hundred working-class lads and lasses, or'nary common folk, just like thee and me. Not like you, Grandad. You were one of the heroes. Now, can we get to the top? I don't think we should, Rosie. Look over there. Them black clouds mean rain, and Kinder's not the place to be in a storm. Let's get back to pub, and some warm grub before they stop serving meals. I promise I'll take you up there soon. Maybe in the winter when the ground's hard with frost. What about Christmas, Grandad? That would be the best present ever. Christmas? It's not even November yet, Rosie. Anyway, come on. I'll race you to the bottom. Grandad, Rosie was going to say he shouldn't be running at his age, but he was already off, waving his walking stick in the air, as if he'd been possessed by the demonic gamekeeper he'd nicked it off. She began to run after him, but he didn't get far. Down he went in the tussock grass by the side of the path, and when she reached him he was holding his ankle, in obvious pain. "Grandad, what have you done now? I wish you could be sensible for once in a while." He looked up at her ruefully. "You're beginning to sound like your mother, and you're never a scrap of a lass, not yet 12. In fact, you're beginning to sound like my mother." "Never mind that, Grandad. What have you done? Does it hurt?" "I've twisted my ankle. I went down that hole." "I'd better go and get help." "Let me get me breath back. I'm sure I'll be able to walk." Unfortunately, when he tried, he soon sat back down again. Rosie decided he needed help, no matter how much he pretended otherwise. Storm clouds were gathering, and the wind was getting up. This time she started downhill, only stopping to shout over her shoulder, "I'll be back with the first person I find. Don't you dare run away." Despite telling Grandad he shouldn't run, Rosie ignored her own advice and sped downhill like a young gazelle. Just past the reservoir, she spotted a lad sat on the dry stone wall, laughing at a terrier stood on its hind legs and jumping up as if attempting to join him on his perch. "Help!" she called. "Please help me!" He looked up and scrambled down as she approached. "What's matter?" "My grandfather's twisted his ankle. He can't walk." "Towny, is he?" he asked, somewhat scornfully. She ignored him. "Please help us." "Don't worry, lass. How far away is he?" "Just above William Clough." She was already turning back, the dog yelping at her heels. The lad soon caught up. "Don't panic, lass. He won't come to any harm." "The weather's turning. I don't want him getting drenched. He's an old man." "We'll soon have him safe and sound. Where you from?" "Levensham in Manchester, but we live in Stockport now. Grandad was married to a woman from Little Hayfield." "Oh, aye? What were her name?" "Josie." "No, I mean a second name afore she were wed." "I've no idea. What does it matter? It's Grandad that's in trouble." "There's no need to get ratty. Is that him by side up path?" "Yes. Grandad, Grandad." He looked up, a grin on his face, waving his stick. "Are you all right, Grandad?" "Yes, I'm fine, Rosie. I've just been contemplating view." "Can you use that stick to begin to lift yourself a little?" the lad interrupted. "Then I can get my arm under you. Once you're upright, you can lean on my shoulder. Between your stick and me as a crutch, we'll soon have you in a sportsman." "Yeah, I reckon I can do that. Thanks for your help, son." "Least I can do. That's it. Now, let me get right. Now lean on me. I can take your weight, no fear." "I'm all right, as long as I don't put weight on my foot." "OK, let's be off before it starts raining." Rosie was about to add, "up to it," but something told her not to. "What would you like to drink, Grandad?" The old man looked up from the menu he was perusing. "Whose beer is it, love?" "Thwaite's." "Then I'll have a pint of best bitter. What are you having, lad?" "I'd have same, but my dad might come in. I'm only 15. He won't be best pleased, and I'm already in enough trouble. I best stick to lemonade." Rosie left them while she placed the order. "Are you comfortable? We should get a doctor to see that ankle, mister. O'Donnell, Jack O'Donnell. What's your name, lad?" "Gartside, Ralph Gartside." "Do you live in Hayfield?" "No, me dad has a farm about a mile from here." "Well, Ralph, that's a name I won't forget in a hurry. Thanks for all your help. I'm really grateful. I'm sure our Rosie is too." "She's a spirited young lass. She had me under orders from the word go." "Aye, our Rosie is a bit special. She's—" "Here you are, Grandad. Now, what are we going to have to eat?" Rosie placed the tray of drinks on the tabletop and then bent down to fondle the terrier that had followed her to and from the bar. "What's your name, little one?" she asked, fondling his ears as the dog looked up to her with its dark brown liquid eyes. "He's called Titch, Rosie," Ralph responded. "He were the runt of the litter. He's a lovely dog. I've always liked black and tan." Titch wagged his tail as if he understood every word. "He seems to have taken to you, Rosie. Perhaps he recognises a fellow Manchester terrier." "What's your name?" she asked. Before he had chance to answer, a noisy group of men in working clothes appeared through the pub entrance. One of them, a dark-haired, sullen-looking man, spotted the young lad. "What are you doing in here, Ralph? Not cadging off tourists, I hope. It's about time you were off home." All three looked across in surprise, but Rosie was the first to break the silence. "I don't know who you are, but I'd have you know Ralph's rescued my grandad from halfway up Kinder." "Well, young miss, I'm the lad's feyther, and I'll thank thee to keep thy nose out of my business." "Mr. Gartside," the old man intervened, "I don't want to come between father and son, but your Ralph has done me a great service, and I've already invited him to dine with us. I trust you won't rob an old man of the pleasure of returning a kindness." "Never mind a kind." He got no further. One of his younger companions took him firmly by the shoulder. "Come and sit thyself down, you silly old so-and-so. You're forever showing us up, feyther." He dragged the scowling parent into a side room, giving a wink over his shoulder to his younger brother as he did so. "I'm so sorry," Ralph started to say, but Grandad cut him short. "You've nowt to apologise for, lad. We can't choose our relatives, but we can choose our friends, and you've been a friend to me and Rosie." Rosie smiled and looked across at her new friend rather shyly. Titch thumped his tail. Grandad passed the menu over. "Now, Ralph, what do you recommend we order?"